CNN 10, your 10-minute, down-the-middle daily explanation of world events, and I'm your host, Carl Azus. Great to have you watching this Tuesday. Jumping right in, as always, for the first time since World War II ended in 1945, the Japanese capital of Tokyo held a drill that simulated a missile attack. Part of the drill, as you see here, was staged in an amusement park. Took about 10 minutes from start to finish. Instructions came out through text messages and a loudspeaker, and people who volunteered to participate moved quickly and calmly to some designated safe areas. Most of those were underground. Dozens of drills like this have been held across Japan in recent months. Like the U.S., Japan is a rival of North Korea, and Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe says that the missile threat from North Korea has made the security situation in Japan the toughest since World War II. Japan's been making large purchases of military equipment recently, mostly from the U.S., and critics are concerned that Japanese leaders might be working toward expanding the military beyond its role of self-defense, and they accuse the Japanese government of politicizing the threat from North Korea. Japanese government officials say the two intercontinental ballistic missiles that North Korea fired over Japan last year are reasons why emergency drills are needed.
Nuclear weapons are terrifying devices, but much less of a threat until they're carried a distance by a ballistic missile. These ballistic missiles normally follow a curve. They're fired into the air and follow a predetermined trajectory until they hit a target. This requires intense preparation and testing. So who has those, and how can we defend against them? 31 countries are known to have ballistic missiles. 26 have missiles that can travel at least 300 kilometers, and 12 are known to be able to reach 1,000 kilometers. 8 countries' missiles fall into the last category, reaching at least 5,500 kilometers. These include ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, that can fly halfway around the world. And these are just the missiles that we know about. There is an underground trade in some of this technology, traded illegally on the black market. That's thought to have happened after the breakup of the Soviet Union. Iran has also been accused of providing missile technology to Houthi rebels in Yemen. So what can nations do to defend against them? The more they spread, the greater the focus on missile defense systems. 18 countries already have invested in some form of these vastly expensive systems, and 5 more are in the process of developing or purchasing them. But they don't solve the problem, as it's unclear how effective they are. For instance, 2 countries that the US sees as threats, North Korea and Iran, have far more missiles than the US or any other country has interceptors. So really, the US or its allies need a strategy to deal with hostile missiles before they're even launched.
With the 2018 Winter Olympics and Paralympics just weeks away, the Court of Arbitration for Sport is about to get very busy. That's a court of appeals, and dozens of Russian athletes who were banned from competing in the Games are hoping the Court of Arbitration can clear their names and allow them to take part in the Olympics. After an investigation into alleged doping, illegally taking drugs to perform better, the International Olympic Committee banned 43 Russian athletes for life. 42 of them are appealing. Many of them say they're part of, quote, collective punishment against Russia, a nation that's historically been an Olympic powerhouse. The country has repeatedly denied that it had a doping program for its athletes, but investigators say Russia had a system that allowed hundreds of athletes to cheat. The entire Russian Olympic Committee has been suspended from the 2018 Winter Games, so any banned athletes who are cleared will not be allowed to compete under the Russian flag or the Russian national anthem. After almost 3 days of being partially shut down, the U.S. government was expected to reopen last night. Legislation to temporarily fund the government and keep it from shutting down had been held up in the Senate, where Democrats used a filibuster to block it. They mainly wanted an immigration agreement to be reached before they moved forward with government funding. Republicans, who control the Senate with a slim majority, wanted the government to reopen before negotiations on immigration continued. Yesterday, the two sides reached what was called an arrangement. Republican leaders promised that the Senate would consider an immigration bill in February, and most Democrats then voted to end the filibuster, leading to the reopening of the government. The tally was 81 in favor of moving forward to 18 against. The shutdown was set to end after the Senate, the House of Representatives, and the White House all signed off on the funding legislation. 10-second trivia. Which of these grocery chains was the first to open in the U.S.? Albertsons, Winn-Dixie, Piggly Wiggly, or Publix? 1916 was the year when Piggly Wiggly opened its first store, and it's credited as being the first modern self-service grocery store. Is this how we'll get groceries one day? You use your smartphone to get into a store. Hundreds of cameras track where you go and what you pick out. You load stuff into your bag, and you walk out. No cashier, no checkout, no cash. After you leave, your credit card is automatically charged for what you took. This is the idea behind Amazon Go, a convenience store in Seattle, Washington that just opened to the public yesterday. According to the BBC, it has had some problems in the test phase, keeping track of shoppers with the same body types or groceries that were moved to the wrong shelves. But if it catches on, it could significantly change the shopping experience. It could also reduce the number of cashier jobs available. But it's one example of how technology is filling a bigger role in retail.
At first glance, this looks like any other Madison Avenue menswear store. But take a closer look. The first thing you notice, well, there's only one of every item on display. And there's only one size as well. And what about where you pay? Where are all the cash registers?
Think of it almost like the physical manifestation of a website.
Andy Dunn started Bonobos online 10 years ago. 5 years later, he began opening physical stores. Or are they?
This is essentially not a store, is it? This is just a showroom.
I don't know what it is. We call it a guide shop.
They now have 48 of these so-called guide shops in the US, offering a one-on-one fitting experience, and then you just place an order online.
So we have here, probably no more than a 1,200, 1,400 square foot space where we're able to put in thousands and thousands of styles.
It's a concept so successful that last year Walmart bought the company for $310 million.
Was it wild to think that you're now part of the world's biggest retailer?
It's wild. We thought offline retail didn't matter when we started the company. We thought the future was all digital. It's really both.
That future could mean rethinking not just store size and inventory, but also the people who work there.
What we're inside of is an unattended, fully automated store.
Deep Magic uses artificial intelligence, which recognizes all the stock on the shelves and tracks your every move.
So we are using camera technology. Like you remove something from the shelf, then we basically assume you're buying it. And if you walk out the door with it, we basically bill your credit card.
They hope to launch in stores this year, amid formidable competition. Amazon's been testing its own cashier-free grocery concept, Amazon Go, for the past year.
Should everyone in retail be afraid of Amazon, do you think?
I mean, I belong to Walmart, so I'm not afraid of it, but I think that the combination of having both great physical experiences with being digitally innovative, I think the combination is the most powerful thing.
And just like with a perfect pair of stretch-washed chinos,
that actually is going to get us the right ratio.
It's all about getting the right balance.
Super Blue Blood Moon kind of sounds like the answer to a Jeopardy before and after question. But if you're able to see the satellite on January 31st, you'd see a near supermoon named for when the moon is closest in its elliptical orbit of Earth. You could see a blood moon named for its red color during a total lunar eclipse, and you'd see a blue moon, a name for the second full moon in a month. Hence, Super Blue Blood Moon. So regardless of whether you're feeling super blue, or even if you're seeing red, you don't need to be a blue blood to shoot for the moon, lasso the moon, or think someone hung the moon to go moony-eyed or over the moon. You just have to look up to see something super and get stars in your eyes. I'm Carl Azus for CNN 10.